Okay, this will be the reading of my full-length novel slash screenplay, Backwoods, as part of the Monsters Saga. This will be video number 7, the third video in the Act 4 series. Well, last time we left off with the second video, and it was another big one. Actually, it was the monster. It covered pages 57 through 76. Well, that made for 17 pages. Hour and 15 minutes. Video 7 is going to be scenes 38 through 41. It's going to cover pages 74 through 82. 8 pages. Well, this is going to consist of the, tour of the farm to stay a night is what I have written here on this, not a blank page, but what I've been using for video notes separate from the actual novel itself. I've just been keeping some notes on this page. But yes, this will be Act 4, scenes 38 through 41, and pages 74 through 82. That's what we're going to do with this video number 7. And well, just to let everybody know, video 7 through, I believe it's going to be 12, will be the rest of the Act 4 saga, and they will all be about 8 to 10 pages. I mean, if I have to do more pages because the saga calls for it, it's what has a good feel, that's what I'll do. But whenever it comes to this tour of the farm, it kind of plays out very well over a 6-video series of about 8 to 10 pages each, I feel. And well, I like the first 2 videos to be long. That way we got to the place, and that way we, spent a video meeting the family, setting everything up. But yeah, Byron does a pretty good job of keeping the tour adventurous and giving us things to look forward to. So this shorter video set up for the rest of the acts, it should still provide a lot of fun. And well, we'll move on. Whenever we move on to Act 5, we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, this is gonna be where we'll still have the rest of this act and a portion of Act 5 that's going to keep on pushing our introductory theme with the scenery and just being a very vacation-y, scenery-driven novel. We're also meeting the characters now, too. I mean, we've already met the Lasbys, but we're going to really be introduced to the Wades now. We're finally at the property. Well, we're just going to keep on pushing forward with that. And that's kind of what, well, again, that is still what Acts 4 and Acts 5 are meant to do, but Acts 4 and Acts 5 are also meant to start a kind of new routine. Act 4, well, it puts us there, and Act 5 begins, well, just a little bit of some, a new routine. So this is where things start to change. But alright, let's get into it with scene 38, which will be an interior setting / location. This will be daytime, early afternoon, continued from last scene and the last video, of course. And well, we have the barn doors, which open and the group steps inside the Wade's barn's front room. The rusty red tractor and the black and blue tow truck are the first things that Martin and Paulette notice upon entering. There's also some farm equipment and tools lying around near the entrance to the front room. Shelves and work tables line the side walls. There are mechanical parts, more tools, rags and cleaning agents, containers of car fluids, such as gas, oil, and coolant, and all kinds of neat-looking little gizmos and gadgets lying around on the shelves. This setting slash location, it will be related to the main setting slash location marked with the bold letter I, which pertains to the Wade family's barn. The main settings and locations marked by bold letters were, of course, covered at the beginning of the end of the first video, the beginning of the second video. Settings D below, so A through D, that would be the end of video 1, and, settings E onward, yes, would be video number 2's beginning. And that's how we have the main settings divided up between the two synopsis videos. Just going to say that one more time since we're a little later into the video, just in case anybody hasn't seen the synopsis yet, and it's just one more place to mention. Those are where those can be found. They're divided up between the two videos, and that's how I wound up doing it, to where I thought it would make it easiest to find. But I didn't want to do them all on the one video. I did want to divide them up between the Lasby settings, the Wade settings, and onward, with video number 2, Wade settings onward. Okie dokie. We're going to begin with Paulette Lasby whenever it comes to the dialogue. It says here, after Byron opens up the doors and they all enter the barn, she inquisitively addresses Byron and points at the tractor. I guess this is what you use to plow the fields, huh? Byron, enthusiastically responding to Paulette's question. You bet. It's a lot of work, but the tractor does most of it for me. Martin, addressing Byron. You have a marvelous collection of tools. Byron, responding to Martin now. Thank you. I've collected a good deal of them throughout the years. They really come in handy, too. A lot of them do. Martin, I'm sure they do. Paulette, I can't believe this is the barn. This building is huge. What's in the back? Byron, in response to Paulette's question. Come on back. I'll show ya. We pause for character actions. Spaz now attempts to vocalize the sounds of sheep and goats as the group proceeds to the back room of the barn. We will cut to scene 39 here. Even though we're not going to change locations, this will be still marked by the bold letter I for our main settings / locations, but because we change rooms, we do move to scene 39, which is of course an interior setting / location. It is the daytime, early afternoon still, continued from the last scene, and the Wade's barn extends back into a second room which contains the animals' feed, stored away barrels, and pens for more animals, this time sheep and goats. A ladder leads up to a good-sized hayloft. There's a good deal of storage space in the back room and not nearly as much clutter. If one were to listen closely, they would notice that light, somewhat indistinct and almost muffled noises can be heard every now and again coming from out back, behind the barn and to the south. We begin the dialogue with Byron addressing the Lasbys upon entering the back room. This is the back room. We store things back here, such as the animals' feed and anything we've collected from the fields and haven't sold yet. Paulette, entering the back room and looking around and sounding delighted when she speaks. "Oh, Martin, look! Sheep and goats!" Martin, responding to Paulette, also delighted but sounding more reserved about it. "Wow, aren't they something?" Paulette, now walking toward the sheep to pet one's fleece. "They're adorable." Byron, staring at Paulette as she pets the sheep, he fondly remarks, "I like the sheep too. They're very soft and friendly." Martin, addressing Byron with an earnest curiosity, "How about the goats?" Byron, responding to Martin's question, "Well, the goats have a little kick to 'em." Martin, unable to keep from letting out a chuckle as he speaks, "I bet they do." Byron, after a moment's pause, "The pig pen is out back, behind the barn." Paulette, enthusiastically addressing Byron, "You have pigs too?" Byron, in response to Paulette's question, "We sure do. Come on, I'll show ya." Spaz, "Oink, oink, oink." And, well, pause for character dialogue, and Spaz is now oinking like a pig. Martin and Paulette follow Byron and Spaz out a rear exit. Boz follows along after everybody else, still right in tow with the Lasbys. We now move to scene 40, which is going to be an exterior setting / location. This will be daytime, still early afternoon. Continued from last scene. Exiting through a door in the west side wall, the group makes their way out of the barn near a white work van which is parked off to that side of the barn on the back lot. Heading south, the group soon makes their way around to the back of the barn where the pig pen is located. A small wooden fence surrounds the area behind the barn and makes for the pig pen which holds the pigs in. The pigs grow excited due to the human presence, the oinking and squealing now getting louder and sounding more rambunctious. Seeing the pigs and their reaction, Spaz joins in and just goes wild. And, well, this will be a setting slash location, which will be in conjunction with the main setting slash location, marked in bold with the letter E. Spaz joining in with the pigs to start our character dialogue. Oink, 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 oink. We now move on to Byron, leaning over the short wooden fence that surrounds and bounds the pig pen while addressing the Lasbies. Well, this is the pig pen. They always think it's feeding time. That's why they're so rowdy. I guess that's why they're called pigs. Pause for character actions. Martin and Paulette politely smile, realizing that Byron has just made an attempt at humor but has failed to amuse anyone but himself. All of a sudden, two small mongrel dogs come running around the corner of the barn nearest where the van is parked. Martin and Paulette take a step back and look to the dogs, who are not moving quickly or aggressively. The dogs' tongues are hanging down and out of their mouths, and their tails are wagging. It seems they are hoping to get some scraps of food along with the pigs. No such luck right now. The dogs will instead approach the group in order to join up with them. They'll soon be sniffing at the surroundings and inspecting these two newcomers, just as happy as can be. Well, we now move back to character dialogue. This is going to be Byron speaking again. Now introducing the dogs to the Lasbies. Oh, don't mind them. These are our two dogs, G and Peppy. We named Peppy after the skunk from the Looney Tunes cartoons, 'cause he likes to roll around and stink at things and get all sorts of nasty smelling. He'd probably even roll around on a human's mound if I let him. Spaz, while running toward the dogs to pet them, he calls out to them and tries to imitate them. Stinky dog, ruff, ruff, ruff. Paulette, sounding disgusted in response to Byron's graphic description of Peppy. Ugh. Martin. That's just gross. Byron. Yeah, it is, but what can you do? I hose him down every now and then, but he always seems to come back stinking. We now pause for character actions. Martin and Paulette simply nod their heads in response, not knowing what else to say. Back to character dialogue with Byron again. Come on, I'll show you the backfields next. Pause for character action, and Martin and Paulette exchange disapproving glances before following after Byron, with Boz in tow, of course. The dogs follow the people, and Spaz sticks with the dogs, for they are what currently hold his interest. And well, we now move on to scene 41. This will be another exterior setting slash location, still in conjunction with the bold letter E from our main setting slash locations. It will still be daytime, still early afternoon, continued from last scene. Walking around to the west side of the barn and passing the white work van, one first sees the back lot, yard, and fields. The guest house that rests, well, on the back lot and yard is clearly visible off to the right. Beyond the back lot and yard are giant fields for growing crops. A dirt path cuts through the center of the two large fields to divide them and make for a straight path to the woods and the nature trails beyond. They aren't the nicest of fields, but Byron and the other Wades obviously have a general idea as to what they're doing when it comes to growing crops. And we begin our dialogue with Byron, now speaking again, for this is connected with the last scene, while leading the group up toward the initial rear field and holding a hand out in demonstration while addressing the Lasbies. We mostly grow crops in the rear fields. We have corn and wheat and a nice variety of vegetables, and we even have some fruits that grow around here. Paulette, looking out at the fields while addressing Byron. It sounds like you guys grow a good variety of crops. Byron, we try to. Going into town can be a bother, being that it's like an hour's drive from here, so we try to make it to where we can survive off of what we've got. Martin, addressing Byron, spoken in a genuinely curious tone of voice. Do you do all right for yourselves? Byron, an honest answer. For the most part, yes. But it's never easy, and there are times, especially during the winter months, when food can be a little scarce. Martin, what do you do then? We go into town and buy what we need. It's just what we have to do during them months. Paulette, how often do you make it into town? Byron, well, it all depends. Not often, though, really. Martin and Paulette both contemplatively nod their heads. This is character actions. And we now move on to Byron's dialogue again. We really do produce most everything we need right here on the land. This is by far the best place me and my wife have ever lived. Pause for character actions. Martin and Paulette are still both contemplatively nodding their heads, and now they both politely smile. Paulette is just happy to hear that the property is being used and bringing somebody at least some form of comfort after all of these years. The thought is an uplifting one for her. Back to character dialogue with Paulette. That's nice. It's just good to hear that the old farm is still prospering, at the very least. Byron, yeah, we do all right. At least we're surviving. Martin, sometimes that's all one can do. Byron, eager to continue the tour, he suddenly announces loud and to the Lasby's surprise, "The outhouse is over yonder. It's the shack in the midst of that cornfield." Do either of you have to go? Martin, looking at the outhouse in disgust. I'll pass. Paulette, in an astonished voice. The farm doesn't have plumbing? Byron, nope. We have a well we fetch our water from, an outhouse where we take care of all of our dirty business. Well, most of us anyway. We now pause for character actions. Martin and Paulette again fail to understand Byron's attempt at humor, and they look to each other with appalled and concerned grimaces on their faces. We now move back to character dialogue with Paulette, spoken in an even voice, despite her initial reaction to the idea of an outhouse. That's too bad. Martin, first 3 sentences are directed at Paulette, spoken in earnest and as a rebuttal of sorts to their initial reactions. The final short sentence is directed at Byron. I don't know, Paulette. These people are truly living off the land, adapting to and becoming one with nature. I'd wager that every day is an adventure for them, living out here the way they do. Am I right, Byron? Byron, nervously scratching at one ear before replying, some days are more exciting than others, and we do struggle at times. But yes, it certainly is an adventurous lifestyle we've chosen for ourselves. Me and Mei Lin wouldn't want for things to change, that's for sure. We're happy here. Martin, first 2 sentences directed at Paulette, final sentence addresses Byron. See, Paulette, no utilities, but they're happy, and that's what counts. I don't know if my wife and I could do it, but I commend you, and even look up to you for living such a lifestyle. Paulette, addressing Byron and commending Martin. Isn't my husband wonderful? I think he's been romanticizing about moving out here his whole life, although he knows we could never leave everything we've worked so hard to accomplish back home behind. Byron, almost challenging Martin and Paulette's conviction. Oh, is that so? Martin, addressing Byron, firmly but politely answering his question while at the same time agreeing with and charming his wife. He then rambles on about their vacation a bit before sidetracking into the favored topic of bloodlines and lineage. Yes, unfortunately it is. But we have the entire length of our vacation to enjoy our time out in the mountainous West, and that's precisely what my wife and I intend to do, is enjoy ourselves while we're out here. Did I tell you that we both come from bloodlines of explorers and settlers, and that some of our not-so-distant relatives helped to explore and colonize this very region? Byron, wow, that's cool. My ancestors were on one of the ships that helped settle the original colony. I'm also related to our nation's first president. Martin, is that really true? Byron. Yep. We have a very extensive family history with all kinds of famous people in it. Me and my wife do. Pause for character actions. Paulette is looking at Martin, possibly to see just how gullible he proves to be in this situation. Martin, still not sounding convinced. Oh, wow. That's great, really. Byron, spoken proudly, apparently not having heard or not caring if he had heard the skepticism in Martin's voice. Yep, we come from good, strong bloodlines, too. Me and my wife, we do. We now pause for character actions. Paulette almost has to stifle a laugh, but she manages to hold it together. She thinks Byron is harmless and rather innocent, but she doesn't believe all that he is saying. She's likely thinking to herself, Martin says we're from a family of explorers, so Byron has to top him. Men and their egos. I don't get it. Back to character dialogue with Martin. Perhaps still sounding a bit skeptical, but saying the first polite thing that comes to mind. Well, that's obvious enough to me. After all, you are Wade's and Talbot's. Byron, with a smile that's just as bright as can be. Yeah, we sure are. You really are nice folks, and the kids just adore ya. We're really glad you decided to come all the way out here to pay us a visit. This is just swell. I mean it. This is great. Paulette, first sentence directed at Byron, second and last sentence directed at Martin. Well, I'm just happy that I still have family living out this way. Now we have a place to go and people to visit anytime we're out west, honey. Martin. Yes, indeed. Byron. Great. Well, then, our next stop on the tour is the guest house, which is right over this way. You can see it right over there. Hey, how would you folks like to spend the night in the guest house tonight? That way we can really get all we can out of this day here. Martin, addressing Byron and sounding put on the spot. I don't know. Paulette, addressing Byron, also feeling pressured. We wouldn't want to be an imposition. Pause for character actions. Boz looks up at the Lasbys with hopeful, almost pleading eyes, and the Lasbys both notice him. They like Boz. He's a darling and a sweetheart, as far as the Lasbys can tell. And, well, Spaz is obviously hyperactive, but he seems like a good kid to the Lasbys, too. Now we move back to character dialogue with Spaz, addressing the Lasbys while jumping up and down. Stay, stay, stay! Byron. It's no bother, really. We would love to have ya. I'll tell you what. Let me show you the guest house first, and then let me finish showing you around the property in general, and after that I'll let you in on what else I have planned. If you folks are in for an adventure and want to see the most beautiful sight around, I think you'll reconsider and stay. Paulette. the first sentence will be directed at Byron and the second sentence will be directed at Martin. Well, that does sound fair. What do you think, honey? Martin, responding to Paulette. Why, yes, I suppose it does. Byron, in an enthusiastic voice. All right, let me show you the guest house. On with the tour. Spaz, copying his father, but with way more enthusiasm. All right, on with the tour. On with the tour. And well, we pause one more time for character actions. The group heads toward the guest house. And well, we cut and move towards scene 42, which will start off the next video. It will be an interior setting / location. It will be daytime, still early afternoon, and it will be continued from this last scene we just did in this video. So, yep, we're going to be doing the guest house soon, which will be connected with the main setting / location marked in bold with the letter G. 42. Let's see here. In the next video, I believe we're going to do scenes 42 through 45. I believe it'll be pages 82 through 89. So it will be 7 pages. It'll be a really short one, especially if I don't talk a lot. But I enjoy myself, so it's extra detail. That will be video 8, and that will consist of the guest house to a plan for an adventure. Well, we'll get to that in the next video. Thank you again so much. I've been enjoying these. I hope you have been too. And well, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you again.